Behaviour just revealed the changes coming from the PTB to live this 8th of October, starting with something we knew from the developer livestream. So the Mori rework is coming as is, meaning everyone gets to Mori a survivor at the end of the match if they are the last standing. However, the Memento Mori offerings change is reverted. This means that you can bring a green Mori to go for someone and also Mori the final survivor, which technically makes it a buff, or bring the Ebony Mori and Mori all 4 survivors if you want to. There is no blood point reward incentive, as that was removed because the devs saw that it could be problematic. Now, one thing that many players were confused about is the Cypress Mori retirement. All the yellow Moris will be retired since they have no use, and everyone that connects between the 8th and the 17th of October will get a 1 million blood point compensation. It's not for each yellow Mori, it's just a single payment. And now let's talk about the Skull Merchant changes, and you are not going to like them. So first of all, they added the haste effect back on scan, however with one condition. Now this haste only works when you actively use your drones to scan a survivor, so this means that no longer will you get a speed boost randomly during a chase. Call me crazy, but I think this is a fantastic change. However, something you might have not known is that 5% haste is the equivalent of having 2 survivors scanned at the same time, so overall, her haste bonus is actually stronger than before. Next, they buffed some things while nerfing others. The hindered effect is buffed to 8% instead of 5%, which is still 2% less than life, but remember again that this is compensated with the haste she gets, so overall it should be the same. The scanline rotation speed is faster, however, now your speed is slower while using the radar or placing a drone, and also fast volts are no longer detected by drones, which to be honest I have no idea what this means, since drones will always be active regardless. If this means that during fast volts you are immune to being scanned, that's a huge nerf. Behaviour has already revealed that they want to make Skull Merchant unplayable because her kill rate is way too high and the community hates her overwhelmingly, so they decided to add a bit of buffs so at the very least her diehard fans still play her. But I think this still missed the mark. What they did is basically bring back the thing survivors hated, which was dropping a drone during a chase to get a free injury as well as haste. And now that her tracking is severely worse, as she has only one beam, everyone will just play her as a budget clown. I don't think she is D tier as before, as she now actually has a power, but is still weaker than she was before, as now she has slowed down for looking at her tracking device and also by placing a drone, making her feel clunky. Remember that you also have to bring up your tracking device to rotate drones, and since she gets slowed down now, I still think this is overall a nerf to her chase power. At this point, Skully's only salvation is a complete rework, just like Riot Games did to Fiddlesticks or Warwick. Hillbilly got a small buff to his overdrive speed, as the player said that he felt a bit slow, so despite the other fair nerfs added on this update, Hillbilly will still be one of the best killers in the game. Now, despite this not being mentioned on the patch notes, Behaviour has also reverted the unknown speed changes from the PTB. A lot of unknown players found it to be very clunky and overall it was a nerf, so I am glad to say that Behaviour did listen. Unknown will still be weaker due to the changes to its blurry photo add-on and the massive nerf to Vanishing Box, but I personally don't think this is going to impact Unknown that much outside of the top players. And now let's talk about perk changes, starting with Distortion, which now has 2 tokens. The perk still recharges while in chase, so overall it's a nerf, but now that the perk has 2 tokens, it allows survivors to get various uses of it during the same chase, countering perks like I'm all ears, the new Predator, or the new Zanshin tactics, and let's talk about that next. I am calling it here. This perk is going to be absolutely busted in the next few days. What Behaviour did is remove the effect from the PTB and make it so that the aura reading effect only triggers when a pallet is dropped. kinda like a reverse troubleshooter, and just one match with that perk on the PTB proved to me that this perk is going to be absurdly busted on characters like Nurse and Pyramid Head, and it completely removes any mind game opportunities for survivors. All the hits you see in this section of the video can still be replicated with this perk, so basically Zanshin went from a C tier up to an S++ perk and now back to a S tier perk. This is just going to make Distortion more attractive, and this perk is straight up problematic for the game because unlike with Weave Attunement, it has no counter besides running Object or Distortion. Corrective Action also got a massive buff. Back in this PTB, players found out that this perk combined with Hyper Focus was completely busted, so instead of fixing that, Behaviour decided to revert the skill check bonus to be a good one instead of a great one, which is a nice change. However, now this perk has no range limit, and also it shows the aura of survivors that missed a skill check. This perk is potentially fantastic, especially on solo queue, and I am not kidding. Missing a skill check is extremely bad as it's a 10% penalty, and now as long as a survivor is running this perk, no matter where they are, you will no longer have to suffer the penalty of a random skill check once you leave a generator because you want to save a survivor or because the killer is pushing you off. So this perk went from basically useless to potentially a massive clutch in solo queue and even with Survive with Friends teams. It can also be used to know who missed a skill check anywhere at any time, so now you cannot hide from your sins. And finally, a quick nerf to Deathbound, as now this perk will give the Oblivious status effect to the survivor as long as they are not hit. Back in the PTB, this perk made survivors infinitely oblivious unless they got hooked, so this change is fair and I still think Deathbound is a decent perk. And that's all coming live. Remember that this update will release on next Tuesday, the 8th of October, which will also include the new Castlevania tome on release, so if you missed out on it, check out my developer stream summary. As always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.